everyone. Welcome to the Hindu Current Affairs for Beginners by Law Excellence IAS Academy. Let's start our today's session. These are the topics that we are going to cover in our today's video, and the link for the notes of this video is available in the description below. Now let's start our session. Our first article is Who Brought the Electoral Bonds? Supreme Court asks the parties. This article comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of polity. Here, the Supreme Court has ordered the political parties to provide complete information on every single donor and the contributions that were received from the donors till now through the electoral bonds to the Election Commission. From the prelims point of view, from this article, we should know everything about this electoral bonds which were continuously in news, and there is a possibility of asking a question in this year prelims. Electoral bond scheme. The aim for bringing in this scheme is to make an account of all the donations that were made to the major political parties without exposing the details of the donor to the public. So now let us see the details of this electoral bond scheme. What is an electoral bond first of all? It is like a bank instrument used for funding the eligible political parties. Here I am saying that eligible political party. What is an eligible political party? A party that is registered under Section 29 of Representation of People's Act of 1951, and the party who should secure not less than 1% of the votes that were polled in the previous general election to the Lok Sabha or Legislative Assembly. Only that party will be considered as an eligible party for receiving the funds through these electoral bonds. Then what is the validity of this electoral bond? Here a donor, he wants an electoral bond. Then he can purchase that electoral bond only from designated SBI branches. Only SBI Bank is the sole authorized bank for selling these electoral bonds. So now the donor will go to the bank and he can buy an electoral bond in the denominations of 1,000, 10,000, 1 lakh, 10 lakh and 1 crore. So the minimum amount is 1,000 and the maximum amount which can be donated is 1 crore. So he can buy an electoral bond in any of these denominations. Now, how the political party is going to encash this? Here, the bond which the donor is going to purchase, it will not contain either the name of the donor or the political party. This is very important. The identity of the donor is very confidential. It will not be disclosed. Only the bank who is selling this electoral bonds will know the identity of the donor and to which party these funds are going to. Then, how our political parties are going to encash these electoral bonds? These transactions can be made only through a verified account that is allotted by the Election Commission. Election Commission will allot an account to all the eligible parties. So, these electoral bonds can be encashed only in that designated bank account with an authorized bank. Then who can purchase these electoral bonds? Can NRIs or the foreigners, can they purchase this? Only the citizen of India or an entity that is incorporated or established in India can purchase these electoral bonds. So, according to this scheme, the definition of a person includes an individual, a Hindu undivided family, a company, a firm, an association of persons or a body of individuals can purchase these electoral bonds. And the donor who is donating to a political party through these electoral bonds will get tax deduction, and the political party which is receiving funds through these electoral bonds will be exempted from tax if the returns are filed properly by the political party. And the political parties are exempted. They need not inform how much amount they have received through these electoral bonds to the Election Commission. But now the Supreme Court is asking them to provide all the information regarding the donor and how much amount was received till date to the Election Commission. The next article is display information on 7 common antibiotics. This article comes under GS paper 2 under the topic of issues related to health. Here the CDSCO, Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, has asked the manufacturers of the drugs to inform the general public about the side effects from some antibiotics. So from the prelims point of view, here it is very important to know about this CDSCO, and also a program that is mentioned here is National Pharmacovigilance Program. Now first let us see about this Central Drug Standard Control Organization. What is it? It is a national drug regulatory authority. It is a national drug regulatory authority established under the Drugs and Cosmetics Act, and it functions under the Directorate General of Health Service under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. This is important. It is a drug regulatory authority and it functions under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Then who is the head of this organization? It is the Drugs Controller General of India. Then under the Drugs and Cosmetics Act, we have said that it has got established. So under this act, this CDSCO is responsible for approval of new drugs and conducting clinical trials and in laying down the standards for the drugs, how to be manufactured, what are the standards that has to be maintained for those drugs, and it controls over the quality of the imported drugs in the country. Here you can see it, along with the state regulators, is responsible for granting licenses for certain specialized categories of critical drugs. They are known as critical drugs. What are those critical drugs? Blood and blood products, IV fluids, vaccines and sera. This CDSCO is responsible for granting license to these critical drugs, and they can even ban the drugs and cosmetics, grant to the test license, personal license for export, and they can test the new drugs. And the other function of CDSCO is to coordinate the activities of state drug control organization by providing expert advice in order to enforce all the provisions of this Drugs and Cosmetics Act. So it overlooks and it does market surveillance over and above the state authority, and it is responsible for registering and licensing the imported drugs. The next thing is National Pharmacovigilance Program. What is this National Pharmacovigilance Program? Under this program, there will be a management of database of these adverse drug reactions in order to make regulatory decisions for authorizing the drugs in India in order to ensure the safety of patients. It is sponsored by, this program is sponsored and coordinated by the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, and the National Pharmacovigilance Center at this CDSCO coordinates this program, and this National Pharmacovigilance Center operates under the supervision of National Pharmacovigilance Advisory Committee in order to recommend what are the guidelines that were needed for regulatory interventions. Now, if we look into the objectives of this program, it is nothing but to maintain a database of adverse drug reactions. ADR means adverse drug reactions for Indian population and to create awareness regarding these drug reactions, monitoring among people, and to ensure optimum safety of drug products in the Indian market, and to create infrastructure for review of periodic safety update reports. The next article is Seeing Darkness. This article comes under GS Paper 3 under the topic of Science and Technology. Astronomers, they took the first time they took an image of black hole that is located in a distant galaxy, and the image has shown a supermassive black hole at the center of Messier 87 galaxy, and this galaxy is a neighbor of our Milky Way galaxy. Now, from the prelims point of view, from this article, here we should know what is a black hole, what is event horizon telescope, LIGO, gravitational waves, what is this Einstein's general theory of relativity, and Sagittarius A. Now, first let us see what is a black hole. A black hole is an object in the space which will have a strong gravitational pull. Gravitational pull means a strong force that will attract towards it. This black hole is an object in the space with this strong gravitational pull, and at this force even the light cannot escape, because no light can escape. This is black and invisible. There are two types of black holes. One is supermassive black hole and the other one is stellar black hole. What is a supermassive black hole? This supermassive black hole will be found at the center of galaxies, and it is a billion times more massive. That means it is billion times larger than the sun. And our Milky Way galaxy also had a black hole at its center. That black hole is this Sagittarius A. This is the black hole in our Milky Way galaxy. This is the supermassive black hole. The next thing is stellar black hole. These black holes will be formed by the collapse of a larger star. Even this star is 3 to 4 times larger than a sun, and if that star collapses, then this type of stellar black holes will be formed. The next thing is event horizon. What is this event horizon? Here you can see the boundary at the edge of a black hole. The boundary at the edge of a black hole is called this event horizon, and it is known as the point of no return, because any light or matter that crosses this boundary will get sucked into this black hole, and in order to escape from it, it should travel at a speed faster than the light, which is very impossible. And here we should also know about a term known as singularity. Here, anything that crosses this event horizon, it will fall to the center of the black hole, and it will be compressed into a single point, and at this single point there will be infinite density. That single point is known as singularity. Here the gravity is infinitely strong. Now let's try to answer this question. The terms event horizon, singularity, string theory and standard model are sometimes seen in the news in the context of. Just now we have seen what is event horizon and singularity. Here what is the standard model? It is related to particle physics. We have the forces of nature like strong forces, weak forces, electromagnetic forces. All these were dealt by this standard model. So from this, here we can eliminate our options. Let us see the second option. It is regarding the study of solar and lunar eclipses. No. It is about placing the satellites in the orbit of the earth. No, it is not at all about satellites. It is not even about the origin and evolution of living organisms on the earth, but it is about observing and understanding of universe. So the answer here is A, and this question had appeared in our 2017 prelims. Next, what is this Event Horizon Telescope? This Event Horizon Telescope is a network of 8 ground-based radio telescopes that were built with the help of international collaboration. Why? In order to capture the images of a black hole. The purpose of this Event Horizon Telescope is to capture the images of a black hole, and it is a network of 8 ground-based radio telescopes that were built with the help of international collaboration. The next article is Einstein's theory of general relativity. In 1915, Albert Einstein has presented his theory of general relativity, and this has proposed that gravity is the result of warping of space-time by massive objects like stars and planets. This theory of relativity indicates that all the objects will fall the same way regardless of their mass or composition. Here, what is important is we need not go into the technicalities or a proper physics. Here we should know what is this theory of relativity, what it is saying, and what are some of the consequences or predictions regarding this general theory of relativity by Einstein. Here it says that light rays will bend in the gravitational field. When the light comes closer to the sun, it will bend, and the universe is expanding and the parts of it are moving away from the earth faster than the speed of the light, and gravity influences the passage of time. The clocks in the deeper gravitation will run slower than in general gravitational levels. So it is saying that here the gravity is influencing the passage of time. Now let's see a question regarding this. Consider the following phenomena. This question had appeared in our 2018 UPSC Prelims. Light is affected by gravity, universe is constantly expanding, matter warps in surrounding space-time. Which of the above is or are the prediction or predictions of Albert Einstein's general theory of relativity often discussed in media? Just now we have seen that light will bend due to gravity and the universe is constantly expanding and parts of it are moving away from the earth faster than the speed of light. And also gravity is a result of warping of space-time by massive objects like stars and planets. So as all the three statements are correct, the answer is D. The next thing is, let us look into what are these gravitational waves and what is this LIGO. Gravitational waves are small ripples in the space that are believed to travel across the universe at the speed of light. These are the ripples in the space that are believed to travel across the universe at the speed of light, and they are like tiny waves on a lake. These will be produced when black holes collide and stars explode. Then these gravitational waves will be formed, will be produced. The existence of these gravitational waves was predicted by Einstein in 1916 through his general theory of relativity. Then what is this LIGO? Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. This is a large-scale physics experiment, and it is a combination of two laser instruments together known as Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory. What is this for? In order to directly detect the gravitational waves. This LIGO operates two gravitational wave observatories, one in Livingston and the other one in Washington. The next article is Message from the Martyrs of Jallianwala Bagh. Here, 100 years ago on this day, that is on 13th April of 1919, this incident of Jallianwala Bagh massacre has took place. So, from the prelims point of view, here we should know what is this Rowlatt Act and what is this Jallianwala Bagh massacre. And this comes under GS paper 1 under the topic of history. First, let us see what is this Rowlatt Act. The Rowlatt Act was the popular name for Anarchical and Revolutionary Crimes Act of 1919 passed by the British Indian government. This act was also known as Black Act by the Indians because this act gave the government the power to imprison any person without any trial. They can imprison any person who is suspected of terrorist activities for a maximum period of 2 years without any trial. And this act also had a provision for preventive indefinite detention. There is a detention for an indefinite period of time and also arrest without any arrest warrant. And the people who were convicted, they have to deposit the securities after their release and they should not take part in any political, religious or educational activities from then. And this act also had curbed the freedom of press severely. This act was passed by the Imperial Legislative Council on 18th March of 1919. All the Indian members of the Imperial Legislative Council had opposed this bill, but still this bill was passed. This is the reason why this bill is termed as a Black Act. Because all the Indian leaders had opposed this act, but still the government has passed this bill. Then the result of this is Gandhi had proposed a nationwide hartal. Hartal means strike as a protest to this Rowlatt Act. Then that protest is known as Rowlatt Satyagraha and April 6th was designated as a date for the strike to begin. So what people need to do is they shouldn't go to their work and they should hold meetings against this act. Government has suppressed these strikes but some of those meetings were successful in places like Delhi. But in places like Punjab and all, they witnessed huge violence. Two Congress leaders, Dr. Satyapal and Saifuddin Kichlu, they were arrested and deported. Then people in protest of their arrest had gathered in Jallianwala Bagh garden. That took place on 13th April of 1919, which is also a Baisakhi day, in order to condemn the arrest of these two leaders. Then at that time, the Colonel Reginald Dyer, he arrived with his troops and without any warning, they have opened fire upon the armed crowd, which killed nearly approximately 2,000 people on that day. To look into the details of this incident, the government has appointed Hunter Commission, but it is not successful in providing the exact details, but the House of Lords had applauded General Dyer for his act during this Jallianwala Bagh incident. In March 1922, the Rowlatt Act along with 22 other acts were repealed by the government. The next article is Train to Pakistan. This article comes under GS1 under the topic of culture here because the Sikh pilgrims were travelling to Lahore to celebrate Baisakhi festival at the shrines of Gurdwara Panja Sahib and Nankana Sahib located in Pakistan. From the prelims point of view, what is important here for us is what is this Baisakhi festival? Baisakhi, the word is derived from Baisakh, which is the second month of Sikh calendar, and this signifies a new year of harvest for the community. The festival of Baisakhi will be celebrated among the farmers as a festival of harvest. It is a festival of harvest. The month of April is considered as harvesting time for Rabi crops, the crops which are sown during winter season. Now they are ready for harvest. So this festival is like a Thanksgiving Day, where the farmers will pay tribute to their deity for the harvest and they pray for prosperity in future. 6. They follow a tradition which is named as Baisakhi. People will gather to harvest their produce that they have grown in winter. Here drums will be played and people will recite Punjabi Doha to the tune while harvesting is done on the Baisakhi day. And this Baisakhi also marks the birth of Khalsa. What is this Khalsa? This is important. This Khalsa is a collective body of all the Sikhs who are also known as Guru Panth. It is the embodiment of the Guru. On March 30 in 1699, the Guru Gobind Singh, he gathered his followers at his home in Anandpur Sahib, a city which is now home to several Gurudwaras. At this gathering, a collective body of all the Sikhs, which is known as Khalsa, was inaugurated. So this Baisakhi also marks the birth of Khalsa. As we said that it is a new year of Punjab. It is a year of harvest. Like in Punjab, there were other states who also have New Year festivals. Here Bengalis, they celebrate Poila Baisakhi, and Assamese, they celebrate Bohag Bihu, and Tamil Nadu celebrates Puthandu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and Karnataka, they celebrates Ugadi. The next article is Industrial Growth Declines to 20-month Low. This article comes under GS Paper 3 under the topic of Economy. Here, our industrial growth has declined to 0.1% in February, and the retail inflation rate, that is the CPI, Consumer Price Index, has increased to 0.66% in March. From the prelims point of view, from this article, we should know what is this index of industrial production and what is this consumer price index. First, let us see about this index of industrial production. What is this? This is a short-term indicator of industrial growth. So it says how the industries are performing. It will help us to understand the growth of various sectors in the Indian economy, and it will provide a single representative figure to measure the general level of industrial activity in the economy on a monthly basis. This will be released once in every month. Then what are all the sectors? I have said that it will help us to understand the growth of various sectors in the Indian economy. What are those sectors? Manufacturing, mining and electricity sectors. And based on which year these sectors, the index will be calculated. It is 2011 and 12, and it will be released by the Central Statistics Office of the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. When it is published monthly 6 weeks after the reference month ends. So, to calculate this index, under these sectors, there will be many items. So, it considers 865 items, and they were grouped into 407 item groups. Out of this 865, manufacturing were 809, mining were 55, electricity, only one item comes under electricity. This is the weightage of these three sectors, of which manufacturing is having the highest weightage. Here, this index of industrial production will also include the growth of core sectors. It will measure even the growth of core sectors. What are these core sectors? They are like a backbone to an economy, without which the economy might collapse. Our India has 8 core industries. What are those 8 core industries? Coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers, steel, cement and electricity. This index of industrial production also calculates the growth of these 8 core industries, and the weight of these core industries out of total IIP is 40.27%, which is very important. We must remember this. And of these core sectors, which is having the highest weightage is the refinery products. The refinery products were having the highest weightage, followed by electricity. The refinery products were having a weightage of 28.04%, whereas electricity is having 19.85%. Now let's see some of the previous year's prelims questions. In India, in the overall index of industrial production, the indices of 8 core industries have a combined weight of 37.9%. Just now we have seen this. This question appeared in 2012, then it is 37.9%, the weightage of core sectors. But now it is 40.27%. Which of the following are among those 8 core industries? Here it is only asking about what are the 8 core industries. Cement, fertilizer, natural gas, refinery products, textiles. We have seen just now all those 8. Coal, crude oil, natural gas, refinery products, fertilizers, steel, cement and electricity. Here there is no mention of this textiles, so we can eliminate option 5. The answer here is C. The next question is, in the index of 8 core industries, which of the following is given the highest weight? This question was in 2015. At that time, electricity was given the highest weight. But now, the refinery products, it is not there in the comments, but please do remember, it is the refinery products which were given the highest weight, and it is followed by electricity. Now, let's see about this Consumer Price Index. What is this Consumer Price Index? This index will measure what are all the changes over a time period in the prices of goods and services that the households will purchase in order to consume. This index will measure the changes in the general level of prices of goods and services that the households will purchase in order to consume. And this CPI represents cost of a basket of goods and services. Based on this basket of goods and services, how their values were changing, how their prices were changing across the country, this index will be measured. The number of items that were there in this basket is 448 for rural areas and 460 in urban. And these goods and services were again broken down into 8 major groups like food and beverages, housing, apparel, transportation, medical care, recreation, education and communication. What is the purpose of this CPI? It is mainly used as an indicator of inflation because it is measuring how the prices were changing. What is inflation? It is a general level of rise in the prices of goods and services. So this CPI is an indicator of inflation, and it is a tool used by the governments and central banks for targeting this inflation and for monitoring the price stability, and it acts as a deflator in the national accounts and for calculating dearness allowance to employees for increase in prices. Who releases this CPI? It is the Central Statistics Office under the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation releases this. This is important, please do remember. It is calculated based on a base year of 2012. Our India has adopted 4 types of consumer price indexes. One for industrial workers, one for urban non-manual employees, one for agricultural labor and the other one for rural workers. All these were compiled by, they were published by Labour Bureau under the Ministry of Labour and Employment. But here I said that it is released by CSO. These are individually released by Labour Bureau, but a combined CPI combined will be released by this Central Statistics Office for inflation purpose with a base year of 2012. Though it is not mentioned about this wholesale price index, but it is very important for us to know, and we should know the difference between wholesale price index and consumer price index. Here this consumer price index will indicate what is the change in the prices of commodities at the retail level. Retail level in the sense we will buy the goods from the retailer. So here at the consumer level, whereas wholesale price index will indicate the change in the prices of commodities at the wholesale level. Who publishes this? It is published by Office of Economic Advisor, whereas CPI is by CSO. It measures the inflation as the first stage of transaction, that is at the producer level. This is at the final stage at consumer level. It covers only goods, whereas CPI covers both goods and services. Here this is important. WPI will cover only goods. Here the prices of the goods that were traded between business houses will be focused, but the price of the goods purchased by the consumers will be of focus. And the other thing is when these will be released, when the data of WPI and CPI will be released. Here for the primary articles like fuel and power, their details will be released on a week basis, whereas overall will be released on a monthly basis. It has been done from 2012, whereas CPI will be released once in every month. Now let's try to see a question. With reference to India, consider the following statements. This question appeared in 2010. The wholesale price index in India is available on a monthly basis only. Just now we have seen it is done on weekly basis for primary articles like fuel and power, and for others on monthly basis. So the statement 1 is incorrect. As compared to consumer price index for industrial workers, WPI gives less weight to food articles. Yes. This statement is correct, as only 2 is correct. The answer here is B, 2 only. Now let's see the practice prelims MCQs. Related to our today's video, try to answer this question. With regard to the electoral bonds, which of the following is not correct? The electoral bonds will not bear the name of the donor or political party. A person or either citizen of India or foreigner can purchase the electoral bonds. Donor will get tax deduction and political party will get tax exemption. In the year of Lok Sabha elections, electoral bonds will be available for an additional period of 30 days. Try to answer this question and post your answer in the comment box. The next question is, how is National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority is different from Central Drug Standard Control Organization? NPPA is an independent regulator for pricing of drugs, whereas CDSCO is responsible for approval of new drugs, clinical trials in the country. NPPA functions under the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers, whereas CDSCO works under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Try to answer these questions and post your answers in the comment box. In our next video, we will see the detailed explanation for these questions. And the link for the notes of this video is already available in the description below. You can download it in PDF as well as in document format. Thank you.